Let's continue with the second part of this series. What happens if Kyle Shanahan leaves? John Lynch will leave too. So that is a big question. Probably nobody knows what is going to happen to Kyle Shanahan. Maybe two, three persons in the entire world they discuss what is going to happen to Kyle Shanahan. I'm assuming, including Jet George, John Lynch, and perhaps the Kyle Shanahan by himself. So remember 2017, the first draft that John Lynch came to the 49ers, the first selection in that year was Solomon Thomas. And in my perspective, that pick, it was solely on John Lynch. It probably was a present from like all the organization. Welcome to the front office. Let's go and have your pick. And he picked Solomon Thomas. There is a lot of connection between John Lynch and Solomon Thomas. Going back to Stanford, they met in Stanford. John Lynch being an alumni from Stanford, so there were a lot of connections between these two guys. He picked Solomon Thomas, but for me there were other implications on that pick. And he goes and uses these phrases as this team is built the right way, or this player is made out of the right stuff, right? And there are always these type of players, high character, with a lot of talent, but they also comes with a lot of doubts in the football field. Solomon Thomas, we know that he was kind of a tweener between a defensive end and a defensive tackle. And historically, those type of players, they always struggle making the transition to the NFL. With Solomon Thomas, it was not the difference. He got a lot of problems going from the college to the pros and adjusting to which position he will play. But not only that, that pick also sealed the destiny of DeForest Buckner with the 49ers. Remember, the previous two seasons we select Arik Armstead and DeForest Buckner in the first round picks. The 49ers probably they knew at that moment that they won't be able to keep both players. And they draft Solomon Thomas thinking that the next season he will be the replacement of DeForest Buckner. DeForest Buckner, we know it was traded to the Indianapolis Colts. Now, there's two questions then there to be answered. Number one, why not Armstead in DeForest Buckner? Well, probably Eric Armstead, he didn't have the value to be traded for a first round pick, as Defoe end up with the Indianapolis Colts for a first round pick. Then comes the second mistake. Well, the first mistake was selecting Solomon Thomas to replace DeForest Buckner. Then comes the second mistake, that is drafting Javon Kilo to replace not only Solomon Thomas but DeForest Buckner too. So you already invested two first round picks just to make it up for your mistake of trading DeForest Buckner. Two first round picks. And still, none of these two players they've been on the field or in that team. We know Solomon Thomas, after season over season over season failing with the 49ers, he went to the Raiders, then he went to another team. Now, I do believe he just recently signed with the Jets. Obviously, the connection with Robert Saleh there being the head coach, but he never panned out as a first round pick from the 49ers. Javon Kilo, we know, he got red flags all over the board because of the medical issues, not because of the talent or uh, um, any other circumstances. But the medical flags, they were there, and we still select him in the first round. You already passed, you already made one mistake and then from that mistake came two other mistakes. Unbelievable. Well, if we need to give credit to this front office, it is with the undrafted free agents that we have a lot in the team. I don't know if with other teams it happened exactly the same, but we over the past 5 years, free agent after free agent, undrafted free agents, they come, they play, they be like the safe blanket or the support for this team. Think about it. In the linebackers, Cecil Jair, Demetrius Flanagan Falls, and one that we already traded to the Denver Broncos that he's good, Jonas Griffin. In the running backs, oh my God, Raheem Mostert, Jeff Wilson Jr., Jamal Hasty. I don't remember Matt Breida was drafted or not, but I mean, for sure it was past the fifth round. And Jordan Mason right now with the team. Then you go to the wide receivers, Joan Jennings, Kendrick Bourne, and many others they already passed as undrafted free agents. In the defensive line, Kevin Givens. I mean, for the three mistakes that you have trading DeForest Buckner and drafting Solomon Thomas and drafting Javon Kinlaw, well, you have a better player in Kevin Givens that he's still playing in a high level in our defensive line. So kudos to them that they go and make a thoroughly scouting of the players that they were not drafted and select them, bring them, and make them in some cases above average starter. So very good job in that case for our own front office. But again, think about already DeForest Buckner, Solomon Thomas in the same draft, Reuben Foster that many people believe it was the comeback of Patrick Willis, right? It was the Patrick Willis 2.0. It was even from the second round, we moved to the first round to select Roman Foster. So it was not just the first round pick, but we invested other picks and get him, and he's not even in the NFL. Javon Kinlaw, and then many other second round picks like Adam Back, Dante Pettis, your wide receiver, Dante Pettis, a second round pick that he never panned out. And in this season, he went and he beat us in a broken play against the Chicago Bears. Right there are six players that it might be if you drafted good, they might be impact players right now for your team. Six players. Every single one of these in the first two rounds. Unbelievable. So, for many critiques that we can make to Kyle Shanahan, absolutely, I'm not only putting this in the front office about the roster and the picks. Like they always said, this goes 50-50. 50% is John Lynch, 50% is Kyle Shanahan. Now, from those picks, which picks belongs to whom? If most of the picks that they fail in the first three rounds, they belong to Kyle Shanahan or to John Lynch. Like I said again, most of these picks, what they tell me it is that the 49ers they're looking for this high character, involving the community with talent, but they have so many red flags in the part of the football. When many other teams they always look for the talent and the expectations to go out there and perform in the football field, and then it's an added bonus if they are high character or they're involved in the community. everything screams security, stability, with many factors in the 49ers. What we've seen is that there are many great players in the NFL that they play, they are great in what they do, but also they are high character guys. You cannot have every single high character, blue collar, hard worker. Well, hard worker, every single player in the NFL works hard. But every single guy, like John Lynch said, made out of the right stuff. So then you're not building the team the correct way. It's like they are saying that they are doing. Uh, those are many critiques that we can go through it. Now, free agents that we've signed, most of them they are good and they come and play in a high level. Except for this past game in Charvarius Ward, Mooney Ward, he was playing absolutely lights out, and many others. The trades that we made from, I mean, Jimmy Garoppolo, Charles O'Manihu, Emmanuel Sanders, now Christian McCaffrey, those are solid moves. Now, after all this controversy and all of these critiques, not only to Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch, one of the most evident evaluation that we can make to a front office it is their moves. It either comes into the draft or free agency or trades. Now, if they're in the brink of falling apart this team, and you need one more evaluation to decide if they stay off their goal, guess what? Next draft, we don't have the capital, we don't have the picks for the front office to be measured with, correct? So, one of the most critical traits that they've done in the past time, that is Christian McCaffrey, if it doesn't work, that is going to make it or break it in the evaluation process for the front office. There's no doubt about it. If you don't have more picks coming in the future rounds, talking about 2023 and 2024, mainly because, well, we trade our first round picks for Trey Lance, and then the rest of the picks they went with Christian McCaffrey. So we don't have another point of evaluation in the near future for this front office, which makes it very hard to evaluate. Moving on, we only can see what they've done, and I'm sorry to say it, but it's not enough. To have around 20 to 25% of the players still on your roster in 5 drafts is not enough. 6 impact players in the first 2 rounds that they haven't developed into a solid player or above average starter, and many of them they're not even in the team, it is not enough. Absolutely not enough. Like I'm saying, it's not only in the front office, but it's also in the coaches and Kyle Shanahan. Absolutely, there's no doubt about it. If But what happens if suddenly the 49ers, like the last year, they come back from a 3-5 season and they go and make it all the way to the Super Bowl and they won the Super Bowl? Then everybody is going to see them as the saviors, or the people that came to the 49ers. They struggled, but they make it, right? They delivered. They brought the Super Bowl back to the 49ers. Nonetheless, the past seasons tell us completely different. Like I'm saying, probably it's normal for teams in the NFL to have a failure rate about, I don't know, 40%. But here we're talking about 70%, 80% of failure in our drafts. This seems like the 49ers, they got the Santa Clara fever. They're trying to outsmart everybody. Everybody that goes to the region, talking about technologies, startups, in that field, everybody's trying to outsmart everybody. Well, the 49ers, they got the fever, and now they are even smarting out themselves. Not a good draft, not a good selections, and we need more selections in the draft, period. And like I was saying in previous episodes, everything seems like goes into a direction that is more stability, certainty, not flair players, or some of them they have some type of baggage outside of the football field. Everything starts from a guy that is made out of the right stuff, like John Lynch said, and trying to build the team the right way. Nonetheless, again, free agents and trades, they pay more than maybe most of our drafts picks. Not talking about George Kittle or Fred Warner or some other players, obviously, that they have been absolutely fantastic for us. But that is just two, three players. So I don't know. It is a very hard evaluation, and it is a very hard decision to make if at some point Kyle leaves the 49ers. What will happen with John Lynch? Let me think. What are your thoughts behind this topic? And what do you think about the draft picks? If this front office is done a good job, or is just a matter of bad decisions in the draft? Comment down below. Let me know what you think. And like always, see you in the next one.